Market Weighton, a charming town nestled at the foot of the Yorkshire Wolds, halfway between the historic cities of York and Hull. Been here a long time and has a rich history. Archaeological finds suggest that people have lived in this area for at least 7,000 years. The Romans wrote of a town roughly east of York they called Delgavica. This town has never been located and will probably forever be a mystery. However, some experts believe that Market Weighton could well be the actual location of the long-lost Roman town of Delgavica. Market Weighton is listed in the Domesday Book of 1086, but in those days it was called Wixton. In the year 1251, the town was granted a royal charter by King Henry III, which meant it could become a market town. However, some sources suggest the town did not adopt the market part of its name until the early 1800s. During the 1700s and 1800s, Market Weighton was noted as being an important trade and market town in the north of England, and at one point was the location of the North's third largest sheep market. All this history and mystery would be overshadowed by events that unfolded from the 10th of February 1787. On the 10th of February 1787, William Bradley, or Willie B, as he is fondly known by me, was born. William brought a tear to his mother's eye when he came into the world weighing a very healthy 14 pounds. At the age of 11, William was already 11 stone and towered over his schoolmates. At school, the other children would tease him about his size, but karma always has a way of balancing things out, and William would get the last laugh. William's teachers devised an unusual punishment for unruly children. If a child was naughty, they would get William to lift the child into the rafters and leave them there to think about their actions. Interestingly, William's father John was 5 foot 9 inches, pretty average height. He was noted in the local census as a butcher. However, some sources suggest that John was actually a master tailor, which is either a stroke of luck or sheer genius, considering William had 12 siblings, and William's size would make buying clothes from shops both hard work and expensive. When William left school, he went to work as a labourer for a farm near the neighbouring town of Pocklington. Due to William's size and strength, he was continuously breaking hand tools and implements, so the farm had special tools made for him. At the age of 19, William stood at a very impressive 7 feet 8 inches tall. When he turned 20, he reached his peak height of 7 feet 9 inches, making him the tallest recorded British man. He weighed 27 stone, had a chest measurement of 4 feet 8 inches, and his shoes were 16 inches long with a 6-inch width. If shoes maketh the man, then these shoes maketh the giant. William's size and strength made him a local celebrity, and he would often take on challenges and bets with people. One challenge that is remembered for is when he got 2 wagons and a pile of manure. He made a bet that he could load his cart quicker than 2 men of normal size. Needless to say, he won that one. Perhaps his most famous bet is the one that leads to the legendary Bradley Stone.
Look at this, it's huge.
Now, legend has it that William carried this stone all the way from a neighbouring village called Goodmanham, which is approximately a mile away. However, some people say it was only carried to this point from a quarter of a mile away. Now, we all know how stories and legends can be exaggerated, but it's impressive enough to be even able to lift such a huge rock, let alone carry it any distance. The Bradley Stone has never been moved. It's been sat here for over 200 years. Now, this is either in homage to such a feat of strength, or because no one was ever strong enough to move it. I doubt we'll ever know. Now, with all these impressive feats, William's fame started to get more widespread, so much so that he got noticed by the famous P.T. Barnum's Travelling Circus, who employed William into their travelling freak show, where he would be paraded with a giant pig bred at a farm in the local village of Sancton, and a person with dwarfism from Shipton Thorpe named Edward Calvert. This is where he would earn the famous title, the Giant Bradley. After a while, in 1815, the Giant Bradley fell out with the travelling circus. The cramped living conditions in the caravans was detrimental to his health, and there were pay disputes. William decided to go out alone. He travelled around the country and would have people pay him a shilling to meet him in the rooms he rented. William became so well known around the country that he was even presented to King George IV at Windsor. The king gave him a gift of a massive gold chain, and William wore this for the rest of his life. Eventually, William's unhealthy lifestyle of living as a celebrity, plus his insatiable appetite, caught up with him. He retired back to his hometown of Market Weighton, a wealthy but unhealthy man. He was often seen with a walking stick that was 5 foot 10 inches long. William made enough money from his fame that he could have his own house built to suit his needs, and here it is on York Road in Market Weighton. As you can see from the outside, the doors and windows are very tall to accommodate his height. It has tall ceilings and even reinforced floors. In comparison to the normal sized houses that neighbour the property, William Bradley's house is huge. Another interesting feature is the fake windows in the middle of the building. Now, in those days there was such a thing as window tax, which meant the more windows you had, the more tax you paid. And William, giving credence to the age-old saying, "a tight Yorkshireman," decided to cut down on the amount of windows he had. Sadly, William died on the 30th of March 1820, aged 33. He died of tuberculosis, but no doubt his poor health would have contributed to this. His funeral at All Saints Church, Market Weighton, was supposed to be a quiet family and friends affair, but the streets were filled with people, and it must have been quite some sight, as the coffin was 9 foot long and 3 foot wide. For a while afterwards, lots of people came all over to visit his grave, and the church was worried that someone would dig up his remains to put in a show or museum. They employed someone to watch over the graveyard, but eventually, probably due to cost, don't forget, tight Yorkshireman, they decided to reinter William's remains inside the church, where he lays under a marble slab. There were rumours over the years about William's body being in a museum in Paris. However, in 1872, the church underwent internal renovations. Whilst undertaking this work, the church decided to check on William's remains, and they were safely in his resting place, not on show in a Parisian museum. So there you have it. William's life and death, other than his travelling days, was spent in the town of Market Weighton. Most of it just a stone's throw, or huge boulder in Bradley's case, from his home in the middle of the town. For the next 100 years or so, Bradley remained a legend, with stories about him told to families both locally and national. No doubt people would try to recreate his feats of strength, and children would dream of being a giant just like him. The town decided to hold a family fair day in May 1996, in memory of the Giant Bradley, called Giant Bradley Day. This has been held every year since then, but the date has changed to July, probably for a better chance of pleasant weather. There are fundraising events to pay for the fair throughout the year, such as coffee mornings, quiz nights, and even an elegant ball at Cave Castle, just south of Market Weighton. Giant Bradley Day is always a large event in the town, with many attractions, and people from all over travel to attend. There are many things to see around the town pertaining to the Giant Bradley. Probably the most famous of these is the Giant Bradley statue, which stands proud in the centre of town, looking down the high street. Originally, this statue was going to be built out of bronze. However, when the Chamber of Trade learned that the cost would be approximately £30,000, they refused.
Yeah, that's right. You guessed it. Tight Yorkshireman.
It was decided that the statue would be carved from a local oak tree that was around 200 years old. That would mean that this tree would have been around when William was alive, maybe even past the tree from time to time, never knowing that his effigy would be immortalised within it. A local sculptor by the name of Malcolm McLaughlin was commissioned the task of carving the life-size statue, and it was erected in the town in 2008. In All Saints Church, you can visit William's grave, and there is a plaque to read as well. His parents are also buried in the grounds, just adjacent to the south doorway. On Lonsborough Road opposite the All Saints Church is where you will find the famous Bradley Stone. There is a plaque on the wall with information, and just next to it is a life-size mural of William carrying the stone. This has recently been beautifully repainted by a local artist named Peter Hemmerman. Outside William's house on York Road, you will find an information plaque and an actual footprint cast from one of William's shoes that you can find in the Castle Museum at York. Within the town hall on the High Street is the scale model statue of the giant Bradley statue made from bronze. There is also a small statuette that was given at some point to people who worked hard for the community and were considered head and shoulders above the rest. Another thing you can collect from the town hall is the giant Bradley Trail booklet. These are free and contain a lot of information about the town and giant Bradley, including a trail map that takes you around the town in search of Bradley's granite life-size footprints. The starting point is outside William's house, but if you walk a few metres up York Road, you'll find the giant Bradley sweet shop. There are 23 footprints to find, and whilst you're looking for them, you'll pass many beautiful buildings and the duck pond. Let's take a quick walk round. If you can work out where I took a wrong turn, let me know in the comments. It's actually quite a nice walk around the town, and the guide gives you lots of information on the history of the town and its buildings. Many years ago, the main road from York to Hull passed through the town, but a bypass was built to cater for the traffic. The bypass was named the Giant Bradley Way. Although Market Weighton has kept the title of Market Town, the famous markets of yesteryear are all but a memory now, and the town is now known for its farming community and as a hub for surrounding rural villages. Perhaps this can be contributed to the fame that Giant Bradley brought with him. Maybe it's just the natural evolution of the town. But one thing's for sure, the people of Market Weighton, and possibly further afield, will never forget William, the Giant Bradley. Thanks for watching my documentary. If you enjoyed it, then please like, share and comment. You can even subscribe to my channel, Eddie Mills, and hopefully there'll be more content for you to enjoy in the future.